going on, everyone? It's Dre from DreInTheKitchen.com, and today I'm going to make you one of my favorite things. I always say it's my favorite, but it truly is my favorite. So I call this Dre's French beef stew. Why? Because it really doesn't have a name. It's a combination of coq au vin, boeuf bourguignon, and all these different things. Fancy French words, I know. But let me just show you the ingredients, and when you see how we do it, I think you'll totally understand how good this is. One of the things that I like to do, especially when it comes to coq au vin, is I marinate it. I have this beautiful brisket here, and I marinated it with some cloves, a little bit of shallots, some fresh thyme, some garlic, and an entire bottle of red wine. Oh, the aroma, intoxicating. To that, we're gonna add some cognac. We're gonna use some tomatoes. This is my wonderful pandemonium. It's from my favorite winery in Temecula, California, Fazeli. We've got some carrots, shallots, one large onion, and now let's put it all together. And of course, let's not forget the holy and the almighty lardons, which is the bacon. Muy importante in my world. So let me go get that beautiful little Dutch oven and we'll get started. So the way we get started, so we're testing out this new induction cooktop. I love it, love it, love it. Stay tuned, I'll give you my review. So I have my beautiful Dutch oven. Now the beautiful thing about this is even conductor of heat, right? So it's on number 7. Don't do what I do. I'm used to this, but I'm touching a very hot pot. It's perfect and ready. I'm gonna add probably 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. There's fat already on the bacon, but why not just help it out a little bit, okay? So as you can see, I kind of cut them into these beautiful little strips. French fancy name is lardon, just bacon. If you have bacon, great. If you don't, if you like salt pork, use salt pork. You can use whatever makes you happy. So we're gonna let this sizzle a little bit. It's gonna brown up, it's gonna be easy. See, it's talking to you, so you hear the sizzle. So while that sizzles, let me show you the rest of the stuff. So I dried the beef out because I wanna brown it, but the beautiful thing is I'm gonna brown it in that love juice when it's done. So I'm gonna leave the beef here, it's ready to go on the side. I'm gonna add wine to this. Every time I've been to France, everything has wine in it. You can omit it. It's entirely up to you. But in my world, I'm gonna be drinking that wine as well. So whenever you use wine, I always tell you, make sure it's drinking wine. Don't ever use anything that says cooking wine. There's a lot of sodium in there. It literally changes the flavor of your dishes, and I don't want you to go through that. I learned that very early on in life. I know better now. So as we continue, you're hearing it, it's sizzling. Let it do its thing. Just leave it alone. Don't mess with it. I've got about 5-6 gigantic cloves of garlic in here. I just chop things up. These are like in my old restaurant days. We didn't really use bowls. These plastic containers were the go-to for just about everything and anything. So I have carrots. There's the ginormous garlic in there. And my favorite brand, and I think I've mentioned this many times, is Mutti. It's an Italian brand of tomatoes. I just love the flavor. It's very clean. It's just fantastic. And then, of course, we'll add a little cognac after we get everything going. So I'm gonna move this little sucker to the side. Maybe take a sip in a little bit. We'll see what happens. So anyone who loves bacon, your home should already start smelling amazing. I'm salivating. So I can't wait till this is all done. So we'll leave that alone. Let's get ready. I'm sorry, it's pork fat, y'all. It's just like, it's part of my DNA. As a kid, this is all we ever ate. We always ate the piggy in my house. Anyone who understands Puerto Rican cuisine and pernil or roast pork shoulder, I'm sorry. I know I'm saying this is French, but I gotta talk a little bit about the Puerto Rican side. If not, I'm gonna get little heebie-jeebies from my grandmother and mother in heaven. They will not be happy. Now the beautiful thing about the lardon is I'm not looking for them to be super crispy like you would traditional bacon that it's nice. What I really want to do is just render out that beautiful flavor. I'm going to take these out and then we're going to get started on browning this beautiful meat that's here on the side. But I just love the sound of the sizzle, the crisp. Where'd I put that spoon? We're going to take this out and put it in my trusty little bowl. And don't be afraid, I've had this Dutch oven for 12 years, 13 years. I've used metal in it. It's never chipped, it's never done anything, but if you prefer, you can use a silicone spoon. All right, let's take this out. Ooh, this is gonna be so good. I don't know about y'all, but I really wish I could just eat this like this. Take that out. Now I have probably about 2.5 pounds of meat. So we're gonna brown it in this very fat. Why? Because fat equals flavor. And this to me is just heaven, it's beyond flavor. So sometimes you can flour this and then do it. I'm not gonna do it that way. We're gonna brown it. That's the sizzle you wanna hear. I dried my meat so that it actually browns and doesn't steam. Because when it steams, you're not gonna get that beautiful color. And I really want you to get that gorgeous sear on there. It smells so good. Like, look at this. This is a beautiful piece of brisket that's been marinating for 24 hours. And I think I used a Pinot Noir. Sometimes I use a beautiful Burgundy. It depends on what I have at home. And there's always wine in my wine fridge. Don't overcrowd your pan. I'm gonna stop here, sear it on all sides, and then I'm gonna do this entire load of meat that I have here, and then I'll be right back. So let me sear all this on all sides, and then I'll show you how we'll put it all together. All right, so we went ahead and browned all of the meat. I'm gonna add a little bit. So it took all the flavor, but I'm gonna add about another 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Listen, if you wanna use a little bit of butter, you can use butter too. I'm just using the extra virgin olive oil. So to this, I'm adding, so it's 1 large shallot and 1 medium-sized yellow onion. To this, as you can see, this is literally, I think, just 2 large carrots with about 6 cloves of garlic. I left them whole, slightly crushed, don't have to do too much to it. I'm gonna season this with a little bit of salt. You always season as you go. I'm using kosher salt. If you have sea salt, you can do that as well. It may look like a lot, but we're making almost 3 pounds of meat here. You guys know I crush my own black peppercorn mix. I add a little bit more of the pink peppercorns for the fragrance and the taste, and that's enough because it'll be a little too spicy. Let's get this going. We're gonna stir this up. So these are your aromatics. This is where you really start to get the flavor. Yes, the meat marinated for 24 hours in red wine, some thyme. We are gonna add some herbs de Provence in here, which have a little lavender, a little marjoram, a little oregano, a little thyme. I'll read the back of the bottle. It may have some more that I forgot. I wish you can smell this. Just take a look. Here's that massive piece of garlic. It's just perfuming everything. And that's what you really want. Listen, when you're making a meal like this that takes about 2.5 to 3 hours to make, because it's gonna braise, it's gonna be super, super tender, you wanna make sure that what you put in are really good quality ingredients. Now to this, I will be using pre-packaged beef stock. Of course, my favorite brand when I go to that is Kitchen Basics. I've been using Kitchen Basics for years. I just love the taste. It's not very high in sodium, so I'm not adding any more salt because there's sodium in there. Remember, if you oversalt your food, it makes it very impossible, nearly impossible. There are some tips and tricks, but once you oversalt your food, I am sorry, start from scratch. Unless it's the case of beans for Puerto Rican style cuisine, then you just add a potato or 2 and then miraculously the salt is gone. So this is gonna sweat for about another 2 minutes. I'm just gonna let it be for about 2 to 3 minutes, just so that it can release its juices, the onions will release its sugar, then it starts to get a little bit sweet. So to that, what am I missing here? Let me show you the fun. See, I knew I should have had it in the front, but that's okay. Fresh thyme. Before we add any of that, here's the herbs de Provence that I'm talking about. Home Goods, y'all. This is exactly where I get all my spices almost. Home Goods is my friend. Of course, your local grocery store will have your fresh herbs. I do have some dried bay leaves that I'm gonna use. But before we do any of that, I'm gonna throw in some cognac. So I'm not gonna flame it because we're not flambeing. If not, I'm gonna set off all the smoke detectors. So we're not gonna do that. But I am gonna add a little bit of cognac. Where did I put it? I'm not looking for the highest quality of 1,000. You don't need Louis the 13th. Is it Louis the 13th? Louis the 13th? No. A little Courvoisier will go a very long way. It's just gonna give it a beautiful roundabout flavor. There you go. Alcohol will cook out, but the flavor will remain. Oh, I can smell it. I don't know about you guys, but you guys really just need to be here with me. It would be such a fun experience. Now, if you're seeing this and you didn't realize it, that means you are not subscribed to this channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon. Turn on that bell icon so you're always notified when I'm going live. Actually, when a video is, I see Facebook Live, got it confused. So let the cognac cook out, and then I'm gonna add in the tomatoes, the beef, the herbs. It's going to be delightful. I'm getting a facial. It smells so good. So let this sit for 2 to 3 minutes and I'll be right back and we're gonna start throwing everything in together. So exciting, a few minutes have passed. The cognac has evaporated. The aromas, oh my goodness, they're so amazing. Okay, so what are we gonna add into this before we add the meat? Let me show you a little bit. So we're gonna add, where do we even begin? Of course, I told you my baby Romas, they're peat steamed, they're absolutely fabulous. You just throw them in there. I used to find these on Amazon. We now have a store called Sprouts that carries this brand. I'm so happy. So it is a little bit of a tomato paste. To this, I'm gonna add in, I don't really measure. I measure by hand, so take a look. We're gonna put in probably about a teaspoon of dried herbs. A little bit of dried herbs goes, oh, that's a little too much, goes a very long way. When you use the fresh herbs, you can use probably a little more, which we're gonna put some fresh thyme in there. But herbs of Provence, hold on, because this, I don't know about y'all, but they make this writing so small. Has basil, oregano, fennel seed, lavender, parsley, tarragon, rosemary, sage, thyme, and marjoram. All in a bottle. Home goods. To that, I'm gonna add 1, 2, oh, what the heck, 3 bay leaves for good luck, in good measure. Add in about half a cup of good red wine, even though it's not okay, maybe a little more than half a cup. Half a cup. Clean that up. We'll have a glass with that later. To this, we will add, let's put some fresh thyme leaves. So over the years that I've been making this stew, it has changed. So some fresh thyme, you can fish it out later, the stems. Thyme to me has a beautiful lemon, like a little lemony note. So it lends beautiful to beef. Then we're gonna add all of our meat back in and all the collected juices. Oh, hold on, I gotta do it this way. Put that in there. Doesn't that look beautiful? Oh my goodness. Put that in. I'm trying not to splatter everywhere. That's why I'm using my largest Dutch oven. Oh, just look at that. Isn't that intoxicatingly good? All right, let's just move this around. Let's get rid of you. Let's bring the spoon. Look at that. Oh, the tomatoes, everything is just all together. I'm sorry, but I'm salivating over here. All right, hang on. Now, did I forget anything? No, okay, good. Let's add in, so this is 32 fluid ounces, which is 1 quart of good beef stock. If you make your own, it's obviously 1,000 times better. Stay tuned, we'll have an episode of making homemade stocks. I want to cover it, so this is gonna braise. Normally you could put this in the oven. This will stay stovetop for about a good 2.5 hours. I think that's enough. 1 quart, I don't think I'll need the second one. Because as the meat cooks, it'll release its own liquid, its own juices, and it's gonna be fantastic. So I'm gonna let this come to the boil. As it comes to the boil, then you're gonna reduce it down to a simmer. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Look at that beautiful color. That's the red wine, that's the stock, it's all the herbs. It's gonna be so good. So once this comes to a rolling boil, reduce to a simmer, and this must go, you could, if you decide you wanna put this in the oven, make sure your oven is preheated to 350 degrees. And then you can leave it in your oven for 2 to 2.5 hours. Or if you leave it on stovetop, which I'm gonna move it to the back burner. I'm gonna leave this for 2.5 hours, maybe 3, because why not? It's all the juices are gonna marry, all the flavors are there. So I'm gonna cover this, and I will see you when it's ready. So almost 3 hours have passed. The house smells like a French kitchen. It's incredible. So let's see exactly what this looks like. So come take a look. Oh my Lord in heaven. It's so good. So, so good. Let me put this hot lid down. And let's just pour a little bit, shall we? We have to taste test this. So what I forgot to mention is I added pearl onions in about 30 minutes before it was done, just because I love the taste that they give. Look at that. You see the chunks of tomatoes? You have the lardons in there. Let's just put a little bit, shall we? And then we'll just taste this. We'll do this together. Using a spoon because the meat is so tender, it falls apart. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Hold on. It's a little hot, so bear with me a second. I know, asbestos mouth, but still. If you make this, make sure you comment down below because this is going to be spectacular. It is so tender. Almost forgot you can add parsley on top just for your garnish. Just a little bit. A little freshness goes a long way. It's so good and succulent. Have this with your favorite side dish. Some folks can have this with potatoes, risotto, could be a galette, who knows, you never know. Make sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe. When you make this, I hope your home smells as delicious as this one does. I feel like I'm back in France. So I'll talk to you guys real soon.